मैं आज आसाम के मित्रों को बताना चाहता हूं, ब्रह्मदेश के साथ, म्यांमार के साथ हमारी सीमा जो खुली सीमा है, नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार ने निर्णय करा है कि भारत म्यांमार सीमा को हम बाढ़ से सुरक्षित करेंगे और पूरी सीमा पर बांग्लादेश की तर्ज पर बाढ़ लगाने का काम करेंगे। म्यांमार के साथ हमारा फ्री आवाजाही का जो एग्रीमेंट है, ये एग्रीमेंट पर भी भारत सरकार पुनः विचार कर रही है और अब आने जाने की इस सहूलियत को ही भारत सरकार बंद करने जा रही है।
Indian Home Minister Amit Shah recently announced the Union government's decision to construct a fence along the 1,643-kilometer border with Myanmar. Then on 8th February, the Home Minister announced scrapping of the free movement regime with Myanmar. But why does the central government want to fence the border with Myanmar? How does the FMR work? And how it has become a big security challenge in recent times? Will a fenced border stop infiltrations and drug trafficking? And most importantly, how will the tribal people of 4 Indian states that share cultural ties with people across the border come on board with this decision? We'll discuss all this in this video. Hello guys, I am Saurav and welcome to the Arc. You can see here on the map, India and Myanmar share an unfenced 1,643-kilometer long border. The border passes through 4 Indian states: 520 km in Arunachal Pradesh, 215 km in Nagaland, 398 km in Manipur, and 510 km in Mizoram. Except for a small section of approximately 10 km in Manipur, the border with Myanmar has been predominantly unfenced. It's very difficult to monitor and control this border, as it cuts across mountains and dense forests. As per the Home Ministry notification, government will fence the entire 1,643-kilometer long border with Myanmar. For better surveillance, a patrol track along the border will also be paved. 2 pilot projects of fencing through hybrid surveillance system are already under execution, and fencing works covering 20 km in Manipur have also been approved. But what really prompted the government of India to take this decision? India and Myanmar are 2 former British colonies. Burma, or what is today called Myanmar, gained independence in 1948. Post-Indian independence in 1947, the Indian government realized that the India-Myanmar border was shaped by deep ethnic and familial connections between residents of India and Myanmar's Chin state. The Mizo, Kuki and Chins, collectively known as Zo people, share a common ancestry. The historical border delineations between India and Myanmar were influenced more by political considerations rather than ethnic and cultural relations. The border was delineated so arbitrarily that the border runs right across villages and even houses of people in bordering states. And who is to blame for that? Of course, the British. Considering the ground realities, the Indian government decided to allow the hill tribes to cross the India-Myanmar international border without any travel documents. India amended the passport rules in September 1950, exempting the tribes of India or Burma residing within 40 km on either side of the India-Burma border from carrying passport or visa while entering into India. The Indian government decision was along the lines of Burmese government's decision, allowing indigenous people visa-free entry. This unique arrangement is called the free movement regime. While the FMR allowed the tribes to maintain their age-old ties with people across the border, it created a problem that the Indian government had not foreseen. The FMR was exploited by multiple insurgent groups such as Nagas, Meiteis and Mizos. They used to cross over to Myanmar, receive training in arms, establish safe havens, and re-enter India to carry out terror attacks, and then go back to Myanmar again to evade police action. In view of the raising security concerns, the Indian government decided to reconsider the provisions of FMR. In August 1968, a permit system was introduced, and it stayed in place for the next 40 years. Then in the 90s, security situation in the northeast deteriorated, with multiple insurgent groups getting active using the porous India-Myanmar border for arms smuggling and drug trafficking. In 2004, the Indian government decided to restrict the FMR further, reducing the FMR limits to 16 km and allowing tribes people to cross the international border only through 3 officially designated points: Pangsau in Arunachal Pradesh, More in Manipur, and Zokhauthar in Mizoram. In May 2018, India and Myanmar signed the Agreement on Land Border Crossing, which formalized the FMR. We have discussed the pros and cons of the FMR, but there are two big events in the recent times that really prompted the Indian government for a rethink on FMR. The first is the coup and the subsequent takeover by the military junta of Myanmar in 2021, and the second one is the recent ethnic tensions and unrest in Manipur. In February 2021, the military leadership of Myanmar overthrew the democratically elected party NLD and took control of the country. President Win Mint and State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi were arrested. Ethnic armed organizations then joined the armed civilian groups called the People's Defense Forces that has allied with the country's National Unity Government in exile to take on the military. The Three Brotherhood Alliance, also known as the Brotherhood Alliance, is an alliance of Arakan Army, Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, and the Tang National Liberation Army. They are fighting the Myanmar military with active support from China. They launched Operation 1027 on 27th October last year, attacking the Myanmar military and seized control of crucial border towns and checkpoints. On the China-Myanmar border trade route, fighting has also broken out in the Rakhine state in western Myanmar, Kain state in southeast Myanmar, Sagaing region in the northwest Myanmar bordering Manipur, and Chin state in west Myanmar bordering Mizoram. The attack on Myanmar military and police has resulted in them fleeing to India via the porous borders. This political instability and fighting have given rise to a dangerous problem: a significant surge in illegal opium poppy cultivation and drug trafficking in Myanmar. A report from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime shows a big uptick in opium poppy cultivation and production. The gross value of the entire opiate economy in Myanmar in 2023 was estimated to be between $1 to $2.5 billion, accounting for about 2 to 4% of national GDP in 2022. It's a huge security concern, and the spillover effect can be felt in India. If you look at this map, you can see that the capital of Manipur, Imphal, lies in a valley surrounded by hills around it. This Imphal valley comprises of 10% of Manipur's landmass and is dominated by the non-tribal Meitei community, who account for more than 64% of the population of the state. The hills comprise 90% of the geographical area and are inhabited by tribal people, broadly classified as Nagas and Kukis. The Meiteis have been demanding the ST status for quite some time. There is a growing discontent among the Meiteis for not being able to buy land in the hills, while the tribal people can buy land in the shrinking Imphal valley. The Nagas and Kukis, on the other hand, oppose the Meiteis being given ST status, as it would lead to loss of job opportunities for them and also allowing the Meiteis to buy land in the hills, forcing the tribals out. Against this backdrop, ethnic tensions were brewing in the state for quite some time. The last straw was the Manipur High Court order directing the state government to recommend to the Union Tribal Affairs Ministry an ST status for the Meitei community. Violence erupted all across the state, resulting in death of hundreds of people. The state is on the boil since, and normalcy is yet to return fully. Another reason for this prolonged disturbance, as per the security agencies, is the porous border with Myanmar and the FMR. Meitei leaders have alleged that since the 2021 coup in Myanmar, villages are propping up in the hilly areas, and illegal settlers from Myanmar are being given shelter by the Nagas and Kukis. These villages in the protected forest areas are being used for poppy cultivation. As per reports, drug seizures in Manipur soared from nearly 3 tons in 2021 to over 10 tons in 2022. The Assam Rifles, from January to October 2023, recovered 18 weapons and contraband items worth about $900,000 and drugs worth $11 million. The UNODC in December 2023 declared that Myanmar had surpassed Afghanistan as world's top opium producer. Illegal poppy cultivation in Myanmar and the bordering states of India, a porous border through which it can be trafficked, multiple insurgent groups operating on either side of the border, and the resultant arms smuggling. And on top of all this, a free movement regime. It's a recipe for disaster. We are also staring at a big refugee crisis, as an influx of over 44,000 displaced individuals into Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh has already taken place. Government has directed to gather biometric information of refugees and infiltrators with an aim to create a database of refugees and also restricting them access to documents like Aadhaar and voting cards meant only for Indian citizens. While Manipur is going ahead with this, The Mizoram government is not on board, prioritizing ethnic links with Myanmar. On the FMR issue too, Mizoram and Nagaland have expressed their reservations with respect to the border fencing and FMR. The NSIN-IM, one of the largest Naga insurgent groups that signed a ceasefire agreement with the center in 1997, among others, also opposed the move. With the political instability in Myanmar and the military junta losing control over major border areas, there is also an economic challenge for India. India's ambitious Kaladan multimodal transit transport project in Myanmar is in jeopardy. I have discussed the project in a previous video. Do check it out. India's decision to fence the border and scrapping of FMR with Myanmar is not an easy one.
इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी के क्षेत्र में भी भारत ने अपनी कॉन्क्रीट पॉलिसीज के आधार पर आमूलचूल परिवर्तन किया है। इस 10 वर्ष में मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में भारत एक स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी नेटवर्क बनाने में सफल रहा है।
The Indian government has to walk a tightrope, considering the age-old ethnic and cultural ties of bordering states with the people across the border, national security concerns, and also India-Myanmar relations. It's neither going to be easy nor cheap, but it's something that needs to be done with cooperation of all stakeholders. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon with a new video. Thank you.